Wednesday Night Hoops is ready to go from Lincoln, Nebraska. They're lined up on a beautiful day to get into the Pinnacle Bank Arena for a little Big Ten basketball. It's powered by Ram trucks. Nothing stops Ram, and tonight Maryland will try to stop the 23-4 Nebraska Cornhuskers. Good evening, everybody. Alongside my partner, Jordan Taylor, I'm Kevin Kugler. When you look at this Nebraska season, it's been a wild success, but there's still plenty to play for, including a triple bye in the Big Ten tournament.
And a triple bye would be so special for this team. Struggled as of late, but now it seems they're getting a little bit of health, a little bit of that depth going. So for them to get that triple bye, 2 games, maybe still get on that 2 line.
Well, you see what the standings look like right now. As it stands in that large mess behind Michigan, Nebraska's right in the mix. In fact, they would have a triple bye if the season ended today. And obviously a little easier to win a Big Ten tournament championship if you don't have to play the amount of games that you'd have to play later as you started earlier in the tournament. See the starting lineups. They're powered by Ram trucks. Nothing stops Ram. Nothing has stopped Bryce Sandfort of late, coming off a huge performance with 33 against Penn State. And for Maryland, keep your eyes on number 7, Andre Mills. This freshman's really become a prolific scorer.
Another one of Maryland's prolific scoring freshmen beside Darius Adams. It's been Diggy Coit a lot this season, but Andre Mills coming on as of late. Sweet lefty, can shoot it, can get to the rim. Should be a tough matchup for Nebraska tonight.
The good news for Nebraska is Berke Buchtengel and Jamarcus Lawrence, who have been under the weather. Berke did not play against Penn State with the illness. They're both ready. They're both starting. They're both good to go tonight.
And Berke's absence last game gave credence to Jared Garcia to get some minutes, as well as Leo Curtis, so they'll have them off the bench in that depth we talked about.
Adams with 14 to shoot will kick it out to Elijah Saunders, and his 3 will rattle home. You're going to see a lot of 3s attempted. Maryland loves to shoot the 3, as do the Huskers.
Love to shoot the 3. Earlier in the year, was a lot of isolation 3s, a lot of stagnant offense, and that has been the development of Maryland right there. Side-to-side good shots.
Sanford got a good look, just couldn't get that one down. And Solomon Washington, 3 straight games with 14 rebounds. Gets his first tonight.
Second in the Big Ten in rebounding during conference play. He's the energy guy. He'll give them a real shot. When shots aren't going down, the extra opportunities are crucial against this Nebraska team.
And off to Adams. Back to Saunders, other side of the floor, looking for his second 3, and the rebound ripped down by Mills.
Right on cue, Mills gets it. Washington creating the extra opportunity right under the rim. They got a mismatch right here.
Mills against Mast. Mills steps back for the 3. You surprised he didn't try to take him off the dribble?
Yeah, well, it's bad spacing. It's a 1-4 low, kind of old school right there.
Sanford got a good look again. Hoiberg battling for the rebound. It'll stay with Nebraska. Last touch by Andre Mills.
And going back to that Andre Mills, you talk about with the step back, Nebraska's one of the best teams, the best team in my opinion in the conference at protecting the paint. And right there, 4 guys under the rim makes it difficult. They got to lift one of those guys, clear out the lane line, and then allow him the space to play against Rick Mast.
Maryland is going to challenge the ruling on the court that it is Nebraska ball. So they're going to use one of their coaches' challenges, believing that this was last touched by Nebraska and should be a Maryland possession.
Previous out-of-bounds play is under review.
So a minute and a half into the game, and it's a late arriving crowd with an early start, gives them a chance to get into their seats. Let's take a look. Hoiberg the last to touch it there, and out.
That one's pretty clear right there. Good challenge by Buzz Williams, and clearly being aggressive right off the bat, using that challenge a minute and a half into the game. And you see this Maryland bench, they've come out, you can feel it, with a little bit of energy early. They know they can't allow this Nebraska crowd to get on top of them right away.
Well, they have been better. 3-2 over their last 5 games. They're holding their opponents in that stretch to 68 points per game, and they're shooting 43% from the floor.
The out-of-bounds play is overturned. Successful challenge. Be 30 seconds on the shot clock. Be Maryland ball. Maryland retains the...
So Maryland retains their timeout, and they have one more challenge in this game, but they use it early to get one extra possession early. Would you, as a coach, have used one early there?
Me, no, but that's why I'm over here sitting next to you.
Yeah,
Buzz Williams, I like it because it's clear what he's trying to do. He's trying to set the tone early. He's trying to give his guys confidence, trying to allow him to get an early lead. When you talk about that 43% shooting, it's because the ball is going side to side. They're so much better collectively as an offense right now.
And then they throw it into the backcourt, and that'll be a turnover. So they use the challenge and then cough it up. And Buzz Williams out instructing his crew. His first season as Maryland head coach, looking for win number 385 in his career tonight.
It's expected to have a tough season when you lose a guy like Pharrell Payne, Miles Rice over there on the bench, a lot of talent. But for Maryland, we talked about offensively, got to keep the ball off that side against Nebraska.
And then Nebraska turns it over. Mass trying to feed Hoiberg to the rim. So the teams exchange turnovers, Maryland ball.
Nebraska's been surprisingly a little turnover happy a couple of these last games, particularly against Northwestern at home.
Mills on the drive to the rim. That ball batted around and out of bounds to Nebraska. Mills touched it, and he was sitting along the baseline, and it'll be Nebraska ball.
Maryland can do right there. That time they go single high screen. Park Washington right in the middle of the floor, but it's still Rick Mass down there with Metcalf. That's where you talk about that spacing. You're always going to have to finish around that second big or that second guard, whatever it is, against Nebraska.
Sort of an uneven start, Jordan, to this one for the first 2 minutes. Huskers 0 for 2. Sanford missing 2 shots from 3. Under 10 to shoot. 5 on the shot clock now for Sanford. Here's Mass posting against Metcalf. 1 to shoot. And again, good defense by Maryland. Nothing doing for Nebraska.
Solomon Washington, the ability to be out on the floor switching on guards makes them a really good defensive team.
To shoot for Adams. Here's Washington on the drive to the rim, and he hammers it home.
Took the rim, took the ball, took everything through right there. And that's Nebraska's weakness right there. You hit the middle of the floor, you play second side, and you get an athlete like Solomon Washington clears out that low man where Nebraska is typically so good.
Here's Sanford, all over him on the perimeter. Jamarcus Lawrence into the paint. Huskers still unable to crack the seal in the scoring column in this game.
You can see why Coach Hoiberg was a little nervous about this one coming in.
Adams will back it out, reset that offense. The triple, rebounded by Sanford.
The second time Maryland's kind of settled right there with the switch. You called it earlier. That time they brought Sam Hoiberg to the screen.
And a foul called. Sanford trying to break it to the rim. No shot. It's a foul on Solomon Washington, his first.
You see play second side, get another look at that. Solomon Washington dunked on everybody, including everybody at home. Get a little action right there. It's like virtual reality for y'all, man.
Thank goodness I wouldn't wear my 3D goggles that I normally wear on Wednesday night hoops.
The 3D TVs were so popular then.
Remember that? It was a big deal.
Man, it was. A week and a half or so. I fell for the craze for sure.
No, you had 3 of them, I know. Mass inside. And a turnover. Trying to get it out to Sanford. Nebraska turns it over for the second time. Here's Guillermo Del Pino off the bench for Maryland. Giving some good minutes to Buzz Williams over the last few weeks.
One of these Maryland athletes with long arms. It's also a reason why they've been so good defensively.
Saunders in the corner. Short on that 3. Rebound Hoiberg. Lawrence looking to push. End to end. Running right at Del Pino, and he misses the shot.
Great discipline by Del Pino. Using that length, absorb the contact, knowing that Lawrence doesn't have the size.
Finally got it from Metcalf, and he stepped on that sideline. Turnover back to Nebraska. Husker fans have been standing this whole time waiting for a score. None coming so far, but 5 points on the board for Maryland, including Solomon Washington.
Yeah, they've been great on defense, but they've been even better at the rim. Solomon Washington bringing down the rim, letting y'all know Maryland is here to play.
March 10th through the 15th, the 2026 TIAA Big Ten Men's Basketball Tournament returns to the United Center in Chicago. Tickets are on sale now. Head to big10.org/MBBT to secure your seats today. As of now, Maryland has worked their way into a single-bye situation for that Big Ten tournament. Part of the reason, Jordan, is they've gone 3-2 their last 5 games, and they've really hit the glass hard in those games.
Yeah, and it's just been an overall better physicality from the Terps. I got to see them when this run started against Minnesota, and you could feel it. It was kind of a lifeless night. Minnesota had come off that win against Michigan State, and Maryland knew it. They brought it to them, and ever since then, it's been better ball movement and better physicality, getting it done on the glass. 8th in defensive rating over their last 5, up from 16th throughout the course of the Big Ten season.
Everybody's still standing, waiting for those first Husker points. Sanford trying to provide, finds Frager in the corner. Braden Frager off, and Nebraska 0 for 6 from the floor. Quickly up the floor, Adams to the rim, and a foul called, and Darius Adams going to shoot free throws after Sam Hoiberg picks up his first.
That's where Maryland can be really good, especially against Nebraska. They have the length. You see the connectivity on defense, but because they're rebounding so well, you get it out in space to an athlete like Darius Adams. He's 6'5", he's got length, not much that neither Sam Hoiberg nor Jamarcus Lawrence can do in that situation.
Adams, the true freshman, came into tonight tied with Andre Mills as the 6th leading freshman scorer in the Big Ten, the 5th leading freshman scorer, also on the floor tonight, Braden Frager.
Freshman play at Maryland kind of been overshadowed by the record. They definitely got some things to be excited about with those two guys.
And Hoiberg turns it over, bumped by Del Pino, lost the handle on the ball. 3rd Nebraska turnover, and the Huskers really struggling to start this ball game.
Mix it up right there, a little three-quarter, half-court zone press from Coach Williams. He talked about he's used to seeing what Nebraska runs from the NCAA tournament a couple years back, and it's like he did his homework, rushed out the old tape early.
Yeah, talking with him before the game, he said, a lot of things that are similar from that matchup in the tournament 2 years ago when we were at A&M. Shot clock to 10. Mills will launch over Jacobson. That 3 rattles off into the arms of Hoiberg. Here's Frager, a path to the rim. Frager fouled by Del Pino, and Nebraska will look for its first points at the charity strike.
Yeah, Maryland right there. Good attack by Frager, but over from our vantage point, it looked like it was going to be a wide open dunk. Got to give credit to Guillermo Del Pino to step in front and try and go vertical right there, and those little things matter.
Frager to the line for 2. And the first point has been scored at the 14:21 mark in the first half.
A sigh of relief from the Cornhusker
Right.
fans, right? But it's anticlimactic when they do it from the free throw line, ain't it?
Yeah, there's some people who are not quite sure. Do we sit down now? What do we do? Some have sat, some have not.
I was going to say, if it's a free throw, I don't think you should be able to sit. I think you got to keep standing.
It's a lot of rules at Nebraska about when you do things. Do you release the balloons at a football game on a field goal or on a touchdown? When do you send that up? When do you sit down? When do you stand? There's a lot of things you have to learn.
Got to get a bucket, man. No free throws. Trying to be a champion or what? No free throws.
Frager got a hand on that, took it away from Del Pino. Now Frager chugging right at Del Pino. High off the window. Got it over the outstretched arm of Washington, and Frager the spark.
I love the students. They give out the confetti on the bucket. Braden Frager trying to play like a champion, bringing the energy.
Diggy Coit on the floor off the bench for Maryland. He'll launch. Oh, he'll step in and launch the 2 instead. He has really struggled of late, Jordan.
He has, and that's not his game inside the arc like that. Great job by Price Sanford to run him off the line, but yeah, Diggy Coit been streaky all year.
Up Sanford. Doesn't take him long and didn't take Nebraska long to take the lead.
Yeah, just a little Euro motion action. Cut out that side. Price Sanford, good read, knows they're switching, stays on that break. Can't leave him open.
Quickest shooter in the Big Ten?
Yes, easy.
Their job is to lob easy questions all night long. Here's Washington. Dunk thriller, looking for another here, and he's collapsed upon and a foul called. And masked with his first.
See right here, a pick and pop situation. Excuse me, that's the first one. Braden Frager was a pick and pop, but he got his hands in the passing lane using that length. He looks healthy again. And then they got the energy going, and that's right on time. Price Sanford, you talk about that quick release. Delpino right there. Don't matter.
Thought that pass from Mass just sort of came out of his hip. Knotting up at 7 as Washington hits the free throw. He missed the first 8 games of the year with the injury. Didn't debut until December 2nd, but now in his 20th game, he's averaging almost 10 rebounds per game. He's been a really nice addition from Texas A&M.
Yes, he is, and undersized as well. Imagine him with Pharrell Payton in this front court, what they could do on the glass. They say he plays with a lot of emotion. You could see it. It's that heartbeat for these Terps.
Here's Frager. Huskers trying to get something going here. Not much happening this possession so far.
Maryland electing to switch a lot of those screens, away screens, off screens that Nebraska's so good at.
Under 5 on the shot clock. Jacobson going to have to go to work. Pivots. The jumper is up and off. The rebound to Diggy Coit.
Really good possession. Maryland did that really well against Minnesota, similar to Nebraska with the off screen. Switching, staying connected with discipline.
Maryland looking for their first field goal in almost 5 minutes. Been set. It's a turnover.
Mills has to get off that when he makes the defense collapse.
Frager, the trail 3.
Brady Frager bringing the energy for Nebraska. He looks healthy. You can tell the difference in him. He's a great athlete. Downhill. Can also get it going from 3.
Bills inside. He's been bothered early by Nebraska. Coit trying to get it going from 3, and the rebound to Frager. For Diggy Coit, just 4.5 points per game in the last 2. Frager feeling it right now, and Saunders the rebound off that miss.
Maybe go one extra to Cale Jacobson right there. But when you're feeling it, you're feeling it. You got to let it fly. Can't be too mad at that one.
Here's Coit. 4 for his last 27 from 3. That's his game.
Not great.
Washington, deep 2. Not necessarily his game either. And the rebound, Nebraska.
Not his game. Doesn't shoot a ton. He can knock him down. He's hit some big ones at times this year. And when the momentum's not going your way, probably not the shot you want.
Hoiberg against the bigger Saunders, who swats it away. Buchtengel able to track it down. Frager in traffic will back out. 9 to shoot. Here's Hoiberg. Slither through the defense to Frager. The open man, the 3 is short, and the rebound and a foul on Jacobson. Got a piece of Mills battling for the board. And a timeout on the floor, but Braden Frager providing the spark that Nebraska needed in a defensive game.
Yeah, it was on defense at first, getting tough finishes. Like we said, downhill guy, but in transition, you leave him open, he'll load it up, he'll bury it. Nebraska on top.
Basketball on the Big Ten Network is brought to you by Ram Trucks. Nothing stops Ram. And by Dairy Queen, only at DQ. Happy tastes good. Price Sanford rewriting the 3-point record books at Nebraska. Single game record tied on Saturday. Single season, he's now got 99. Kerry Cohorn's record shoved aside a week ago, and now just trying to pad those numbers. He's had a tremendous season. The all-time single-season three-point leader, 15 straight games in doubles, and the most threes in the Big Ten Conference this year.
He's a pretty good shooter.
Yep, he is.
Pretty uncanny. Shoots it exactly like his brother Peyton. Got to see him. He was here last week in the Northwestern game. Have to comment on that. You guys shoot the same, and their dad quickly took credit for that.
As he should have.
As he should.
Jacobson with his second foul as Delpino got free on the baseline. So 2 on Jacobson, and that'll bring Jared Garcia off the bench for the first time tonight. You mentioned it. He got some time over the weekend and had some good minutes for Nebraska.
Yeah, this is the guy, for me, he's the X factor for what they want to do in the postseason. He's going to give them some front court depth, allow Rick Mass to rest. He can shoot it. He can put it on the deck. Gave big minutes against Illinois. Good player coming from Tulsa.
Metcalf, the handoff to Adams. 8 to shoot. Adams stumbling around through Buchtengel. Tough catch for Metcalf. Not much happening here. Washington trying to make him right from 3. All the way around the cylinder, and it pops out.
Flush it all the way down right there, but a heck of a pass from Metcalf on the baseline. Big fella got a little vision.
Yeah, there was nothing happening on that possession until that shot.
Thought he was throwing it to us for a second.
Garcia. So Sanford almost launched that anyway, even though he was off balance. Instead, working against Washington. Lawrence, contested triple. And the rebound, Metcalf for Maryland. Nebraska 3 of 14, Maryland 2 for 12. Here's Adams, good pass from Coit to find the open Darius Adams.
Darius Adams can knock that down. Great pass by Coit. That's what Maryland has to do. Get in the paint, spray out, second side, attack again, continue. That's how you wear Nebraska out. Don't settle, don't turn it over.
Garcia will try and hit the 3 in the corner. How about Jared Garcia, just his 7th made 3 of the year. Good time for it.
I love when they make you look good, Kevin. We watched him in shoot-around. He was in the corner with Burke Buchtengel making 3s, made about 8 or 9 in a row. Made it look effortless.
The difference tonight for Nebraska has been their bench. 10-0 off the bench for the Huskers, and Buchtengel almost a steal from Metcalf. Run it to Washington, and he fights through Buchtengel to push it down. Oh my!
I don't know, Washington does not like that rim at all. He's got a personal vendetta, but Metcalf again, putting it on the deck, finding him on the baseline. Great job by the big fella.
Tied at 13. Buchtengel. Traffic there and a foul. You got Metcalf in the area, Del Pino behind. It'll be Metcalf who picks up his first.
Again, this is where this time it's Buchtengel going for the steal, but you can put the ball in the middle of that floor against Nebraska, get cutters out of the corner and slide. If you got someone who can pass it, that's how you can beat them. Don't necessarily expect it to be Metcalf, but he's doing a great job right now. You saw there at the other end on the foul, he was beating himself up. He made a mistake. Supposed to go double on that first dribble with the mismatch. A little late.
Buchtengel good on the free throw. In comes Isaiah Watts, the 6'3 junior. Elijah Saunders returns, and for the first time, George Turkson Jr., who came back against Washington a week or so ago after battling some illness and a leg injury. Turkson, the 6'7 freshman who transferred in after redshirting at Texas A&M last year.
A lot of these guys came over, obviously with buzz from Texas A&M, but maybe go back to that Metcalf, him being frustrated with himself. To me, that shows kind of the growth of the team. They understand the discipline. They're starting to pick it up. They're starting to play together. Buzz always talks about the process, not always showed in the outcome.
8.5 to play first half. Adams on the attack, gets past everybody, couldn't finish at the rim, and the rebound ends up with Frager.
Good attack, just couldn't seem to elevate right there. Good seal by Turkson as well.
Garcia, some strength on the baseline, and then the extra pass is turned over. Isaiah Watts on the push against Jamarcus Lawrence. That shot won't go, and Hoiberg the rebound. Uneven, to say the least, on the offensive end for both teams. Frager launching from deep, hits the 3. His second tonight, and Nebraska up by 4.
Brayden Frager hit his first or second 3. And he has not been shot at 36% on the year, 28 over his last 5. He's trying to find that stroke.
2 for 6 from 3. Watts answer no. Rebound batted by Saunders, and a second chance for Maryland. Here's Coit. He'll launch the deep 3. That shot's just not been where it was earlier in the year.
Yeah, he can heat up quick, though, so Nebraska can't let him get going. Maryland's missed that split action. Cutter going to the rim a couple times. Got to be patient and allow the play to develop.
There's a patient play right to Hoiberg. Beautiful pass from Buchtengel, and Nebraska with its largest lead.
Yeah, Kevin, quite literally the same action from Nebraska. Hit the pinch post, split action. Nebraska's not going to miss that one.
And Buchtengel. That was a telegraph pass from Coit. Buchtengel directing some traffic.
Buchtengel just got away with the crazy traffic.
Lawrence turns the corner, bumped by Watson. Jamarcus Lawrence heads to the free throw line, trying to extend Nebraska's 6-0 run. It may not sound like a lot, but in this game, that is a lot. Nebraska and Maryland in a defensive battle in Lincoln, with the Huskers up 6 at home. Coming up, the Wednesday Night Hoops tripleheader continues as Ohio State battles Iowa, followed by Wisconsin against Oregon. It's all still to come on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. All right, Jordan Taylor, you make the call. Is this a travel?
Reminds me of Russell Westbrook back in Golden State. 1, 2, 3, 4. My man Burke playing a little orchestra. Forgot where his feet were, and as an official, you don't even look for that. You're not even paying attention to that. You're looking everywhere but that on the court. But hey, if you can do it, why not? I feel you, Burke.
If you're going to have the big man orchestrate your offense, the least you can do is give him an extra step or two.
Give him an extra step. A little loophole for the big fellas.
Jamarcus Lawrence at the line, looking for his first points of the night. 0 for 3 from the floor, and now 0 for 1 at the line. They're happy to have him back, though. He injured his ankle, then he got ill and under the weather, and Cooper was quite concerned he wouldn't be out there tonight. It's just going to be talking with Fred Hoiberg at the shoot around the practice before the game today, and he just said, you know, there are no restrictions on him. He says he's fine. But, you know, he's probably going to be a little fatigued at some point, just having not practiced much.
It's always difficult when you're out on the floor and they go back trying to start high-intensity Big Ten games.
Here's Washington, shot clock at 7. Mills trying to get his game going. 0 for 3 to start for Mills. 2 seconds on the shot clock. Saunders going to have to launch one. He didn't know it. And then a double dribble as the shot clock was winding down. Either way, it was going back to Nebraska.
It was going back to Nebraska, but, you know, it might have been fair to let him get that dribble in after Burke's travel, but the ref's on top of that one. And for Andre Mills, it's probably the first time now he's at the top of the scouting report.
Right.
And they're showing a lot of bodies. Nebraska always shows at the point of attack. He's got to get off of it and trust it'll come back to him.
15 to shoot for Hoiberg. Picked up on the switch by Saunders. Hoiberg, physical play inside. In the corner, contested 3 from Lawrence. It won't go. He's 0 for 4.
Maryland's doing a great job at protecting the paint, but also staying connected to shooters and not losing these Nebraska shooters when they relocate. Fantastic by Darius Adams.
The skip to the open man. That's Washington in the corner. 4-3. You said it earlier. He can hit those. Not a great percentage, but a wide open look. And the lob underneath. Mast beat everybody back. And that's 2 for Rick Mast.
That's one, if your Coach Williams drives you absolutely nuts. You get a big shot in the corner. Washington shooting it from the corner. People have to rotate back. But back to that 3. They went back to that split action again. And Maryland's been getting open on it. Mast stays home on Washington. He knocks it down. There you see it again. Rick Mast showing off the speed, and Maryland can't get back in time. 0-10 in the basket.
As Washington came up the floor, Jordan, a blocking foul's called on the drive by Mills. As Washington was coming up the floor, he was holding his left elbow. Mast with his second foul. Keep an eye on the left elbow of Washington. He was holding it. Maybe he just hit his funny bone.
He's actually been shaking it out a little bit today throughout this game. He's a tough kid, though. A couple weeks ago, Minnesota turned his ankle, tried to stay in the game, was clearly eventually had to be taken out. So he'll play through a lot. That's a tough call, though, for Rick Mast on that blocking call.
Yeah, 2 on Mast, 2 on Jacobson. A little bit of foul trouble for Nebraska with 5 to play first half. Saunders contested by Garcia, but he rolls it home anyway. Maryland with their 4th from deep. There's Sanford, quick launch. Too strong. Long rebound, Del Pino.
Pino, one of those guys who's just everywhere on the floor.
Here's Washington inside, and this game's tied at 21.
Great job by Del Pino. Washington's so good at mixing it up, his athleticism. He knows guys are flying at him. He's dunked twice, a couple times, stayed on the ground, used that shot fake. Good discipline.
11 now for Washington in this first half. Inside, Buchanan with the 2 and a chance for one more at the line.
Gabe Buchanan back on the floor. Quick impact, there it is again. Second time he's got matched up with Del Pino. Del Pino clearly looking for rotation right there. Left the whole baseline open. Urke makes him pay.
Number 2 on Del Pino. Buchanan at the line, 1 for 2 tonight. And he's short again. Was short on the one he missed earlier. 2-point Nebraska lead. Huskers have hit 5 of their last 7. Maryland's hit their last 3 shots from the floor. Here's Del Pino still out there with those 2 fouls. Launching deep, Andre Mills, no, and a foul underneath on Saunders. Trying to jockey for position against Sam Hoiberg, and Saunders picks up his first personal foul.
You see Solomon Washington. There he is right here, grabbing that elbow, like you said, Kevin. Talking to the bench, but he's not feeling too bad. He's going to get down the court in transition. Probably got fouled right there. Fly by. Everything's well that ends well.
Coming up on the halftime show, presented by State Farm, Dave Repson and Bruce Weber break down all the first half action and preview a busy day of Big Ten hoops. I would love to promise you that Bruce Weber is going to do a flip in the middle of our State Farm halftime show, but I am not 100% sure we are insured for Bruce Weber to do that in the studio.
I have, in fact, seen him do it.
Have you?
I have, yeah.
That's impressive.
I believe it.
I mean, I don't doubt that he can. I know that we don't want to necessarily take on the liability if something were to, on the off chance, perhaps not go well.
Bruce is pretty nimble, man.
He is?
Yeah.
Cat quick.
Cat quick. I bet he can still get out here and maybe give some minutes, too, I bet.
Solomon Washington has helped Maryland in a big way. 11 points tonight, 6 double-doubles on the season. And you're talking about a guy who came out of Louisiana, moved into a starting role with the Aggies, and was with Texas A&M a couple years, came over with Buzz Williams, and it's been a real nice addition after coming back from injury the first week of December.
Well, he's been the emotional leader for this team. Beats up the glass, makes timely shots. Defensively is always engaged.
And Sanford going to the rim, and he is fouled by the aforementioned Washington. And for Washington, that is his second. That's a big second foul. Still 3:33 to play first half.
Yeah, that's a big second foul. And again, that's a split action. Both of these teams are running the same action. Second time Nebraska's gone back door on it. Washington covering up for teammates. That's unfortunate. Those are always the most frustrating fouls.
So 11 points, 4 rebounds, and now 2 fouls for Washington, and Sanford at the line for 2. Huskers 4 of 8 from the free throw line. Washington leaves, Metcalf enters, and now who scores for this Maryland team?
We still got Diggy Coit out there. I know he's struggling, but he can always get a bucket. He's always liable, but I think it really has to be in Mills' hands right now, as well as Coit. Coit's an underrated passer. He's got a high assist percentage when he has it. Doesn't turn it over much.
Here's Mills. Got open at the top of the key. That 3 will not go. Metcalf trying to keep it alive and out of bounds to Nebraska.
I don't love that shot from Mills right there, flying off of a stagger. Don't have a good rhythm going, just letting it go. One of the ones where you catch it, they're going to close out at you, get in the paint, create for others or yourself.
Mills 0 for 5 from the floor, 0 for 4 from 3 tonight. It's a guy who came in with a 30-point per game average last week, the Big Ten Freshman of the Week. Sanford all the way to the rim. They didn't stop him, and he took it from right to left. And a 6-0 Nebraska run.
That's a difficult matchup for Metcalf right there in a ghost screen, trying to chase Price Sanford. Sanford does what Mills should have done, puts it on the deck, gets to the rim, and got fouled as well. No call, but he finishes.
Saw him rubbing his head.
Yeah.
Here's Adams and a timeout called by Maryland. Nothing doing Buzz Williams was calling the timeout over the shoulder, and so while he talks with his offense, we'll take a quick timeout. 27-21 Nebraska, 2:42 remaining in the first half in Lincoln. Husker fans hoping for win number 24 on the season. They can match their school record for conference wins with a win tonight as well. It would be their 13th if they win. They won 13 games in the 2017-2018 season. It's just been that kind of year for Nebraska. So many different superlatives, so many different, the first time it's done this, or this is the best since. Nebraska fans enjoying quite a ride this season.
They are not done yet.
Well, they hope not done for a long time. Saunders with the three, and off the timeout, they get a great look for Elijah Saunders.
And again, go to that split action where Maryland has gone backdoor and missed it. So you got to honor it. You're not up at the level, and Saunders is a great shooter off those pin downs.
Here's Sanford, matched up against Adams. He'll drive and dish. Hoiberg in the corner for three. Splash down.
And mistake by Diggy Court right there. No reason the same side help Cardinals in. Sam Hoiberg, one of the most sound players in the Big Ten, maybe in the country.
Just has done everything well this year. Rebound, assist, score more than he ever has.
Just a hooper.
Mills, little hesitation. Coit, extra pass. Saunders in the corner. He's had the hot hand, this time a little short.
You live with that, though. Saunders just made one, and Mills, that's a great read by him. Get in the paint, find your teammates. Good extra from Coit. Maryland will make those shots. Defense will soften up.
Here's Hoiberg trying to get free of Mills, and Andre Mills picks up his first personal foul. And a 1-on-1 coming for Sam Hoiberg, who hit this three just a moment ago.
So steady. Steady Sam, I heard, is what they call him right there. Buchton-Gel does a great job trying to seal, which is maybe why Coit comes off. But you leave Sam Hoiberg, he's going to knock it down. And coming down this end, again, Nebraska is so good at those seals under the rim, taking out the big, opening up the lane for the guard to finish.
We talk about all the things Sam Hoiberg has done well, and free throws are certainly one of them as well. Saturday, a men's hoops triple-header comes your way. Iowa takes on Penn State. Oregon faces Northwestern. And the Huskers clash with USC. Coverage begins with the tip-off show at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, 8:30 Pacific on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Hoiberg going to shatter the Nebraska record for assist-to-turnover ratio this year. The record's Brian Carr's, point guard from back in the day, shall we say. His is 3 assists per 1 turnover. Hoiberg is at 5.21 assist-to-turnover ratio.
Pushing the all-time record.
Leads the nation, 3 to shoot. Mills is going to have to launch one from way back, contested by Lawrence, and he hits! How about that for his first made shot of the night, the toughest shot he's taken?
I'll tell you, it does go back to that last possession when you're making the right reads and you start to get a feel, you make positive plays, you start to feel good. And basketball just has a way of doing that.
Sanford wraps it around Buchton-Gel, fouled by Metcalf. For Metcalf, his second. But how about Andre Mills? This freshman is really developing nicely for Buzz Williams.
Really a good player. Again, that last play, made a good pass, did his thing, and now it's sometimes too when you have no reason but to shoot it, or nothing else to do but to shoot it, nothing to think about, you can bury it. See if that gets him going.
Buchton-Gel with 2 free throws. He's got 4 points tonight. Since January 21st, Keaton Wagler, Hannes Steinbach, and Andre Mills. That's good company to keep over now a month plus of basketball.
Well, the season started on January 21st. Might be all Big Ten team.
We had a heated debate earlier today. Not only you and I, but the radio voice of the Nebraska Cornhuskers, Kent Pavelka, about who merits inclusion on that first team All-Big Ten team. It got ugly, and there were pushes and shoves, and
Jordan won the debate.
Yeah, you have a microphone now to end the debate. Mills feeling it right now as he attacks that Nebraska defense at a foul call. Lawrence in there, and Jamarcus Lawrence picks up his first personal foul, 6th team foul on Nebraska.
Impressed with how Andre Mills is adjusting throughout this half. Earlier in the half, getting downhill, that would have been a shot. Missed a couple of those, turned a couple over. Now he gets there, he's drawing the foul. He dropped that off as the foul was occurring, so shows his feel for the game and IQ.
Not a shooting foul though, so Maryland will inbound. Mills again, trying to dislodge Hoiberg, and he stepped on the baseline. As you can see with Sam Hoiberg, he has found where the weight room is in Lincoln over the last several years. It's hard to move him off the spot. He moves you more often than not.
Yeah, man, he's built like Geodude. Remember that, man? Just rocking some arms, man. It's strong. See right there. And again, that's where you get in trouble against Nebraska. Kind of on that side, that corner. Close if the ball hit the line or not, but deep in that corner in the outer thirds, Nebraska's going to load up. They're going to keep you down there.
Is that the first time in the history of the Big Ten Network that Geodude has been brought up?
I hope not.
I can't imagine it's too many.
Well, get some people hit to Pokemon, though, apparently.
Well, we have one right here.
Yeah, I got you. I'm here all night.
13 to shoot. Just about a second and a half difference between game and shot clock for Nebraska. Essentially holding for the final shot. Hoiberg in the corner. It's Mast. Mast spinning inside. 1 to shoot. Frager going to have to launch. Short. Hoiberg's tip will not go, and Nebraska will have to be satisfied with a 6-point halftime lead.
And you should be satisfied after the start. Got it going late. Couple turnovers early. Defense settled in and took that lead.
Our State Farm halftime report. Dave Rebson, Bruce Weber in the studios in Chicago right after the break. A 33-27 lead at home for the 12th ranked Huskers. 33-27 Nebraska. Maybe one of these teams is going to recruit one of these high flyers for the second half to try to get a little offensive spark in what was a defensive first half. Alongside Jordan Taylor, I'm Kevin Kugler. A 33-27 lead for Nebraska. It certainly wasn't easy to establish a 6-point lead for the 12th ranked Huskers.
Yeah, got off to a slow start offensively. The defense was always there, but then it was Braden Frager came out, brought the energy, started to find a rhythm, and they're hanging on right now, but they're going to have to be much better here in the second half.
Let's take a look at Play with a Plan, brought to you by TIAA. Jordan, break it down for us, what you're looking for in this Play with a Plan.
Yeah, a lot of both of these teams are running the split action, so you freeze it right here. Split action is this: screen away. Watch these two Maryland defenders as Sam Hoiberg screens away. He knows that they're point switching. They got a little lazy, and that's the IQ of Sam Hoiberg, just slipping right out of it and getting to the rim. Maryland did the same thing to Nebraska a couple times. Weren't able to connect on the layup. But it's a favorite action. It's hard to guard, and Maryland, both sides, have to stay together, come body to body in that defensive situation.
You saw that 5-minute, 39-second drought to start the game, the longest scoreless drought of the year for Nebraska. Nice little flip to Mass. Saunders was there, though. Mass will launch the hook anyway, and it won't go.
Rick Mass, again, a little bit, not quite a split action, but similar type of result. Rick Mass has struggled a little bit over these last 10 games. They need him to find his rhythm.
Yeah, just 10 points per game over the last 10, and only 24% from 3 for Rick Mass. It's been such a big part of his game, be able to pull that post out on the perimeter. Saunders will pull one from the corner, and Saunders with his 4th 3 of the ball game.
Maryland starts the second half just like they started the first. Ball screen side to side.
Lawrence steps into that for his first points tonight. A rhythm 3 for Jamarcus Lawrence.
Yeah, well contested, but we've seen Jamarcus Lawrence fill it up and get hot in a hurry. Got to be quicker than that for Nebraska if you're Maryland.
It'd be a big lift for Nebraska if Lawrence could get on a heater here in the second half. Nice passing to Washington on the baseline, and a foul called against Sam Hoiberg in Nebraska.
Again, so many teams, that is the weakness of Nebraska. You hit it, they're up at the level of the screen, you hit the middle. What Maryland has is a cutter out of that corner who's a super athlete, and Metcalf doing a great job finding guys. You see this in the NBA with like the Warriors, Steph Curry, you got to guard with 2. Draymond catches it in that area, and he's so good at making plays. Maryland executing well.
Sensing a theme there with Solomon Washington, but he breaks that pattern now with 12 points, making that free throw.
It's a little alarming for Nebraska right now. Throughout the year, so good with hand activity and deflecting those passes, because it's been open against a lot of teams, and they're just not getting that against Maryland right now. So kudos to the Maryland guards, but Nebraska's going to have to find that hand activity that's made them so good all year long.
Here's Hoiberg back to Lawrence. Huskers by 4 early second half. 10 to shoot. Not much going right now. Mast will try. The triple drops. That's got to feel good for Rick Mast.
Kevin Kugler, ask and you shall receive. Like you said, 24%. Get it going for 3. That's big time for Nebraska.
As Nebraska points toward March, the return of Rick Mast as a prolific scorer would be a big boost for the Huskers. Little stumble, and that's tipped out of bounds by Nebraska. 6 to shoot for Maryland. Big bucket here for Rick Mast. See if he can build on this last possession.
As you mentioned, it's so important to Nebraska's offense because he creates so much space with this shot. And that's the second time Metcalf has contested well in this half. But Mast just knocks it down. For him to get that going is going to open up the lane for Braden Frager, Jamarcus Lawrence. Buchtengel even to play around that rim. That last defensive possession was outstanding by Jamarcus Lawrence. Speaking of, great closeout in the corner, closing out short to Washington.
Has to launch with that shot clock winding. Got a decent look, and there's a rebound inside. Turkson off the bench, and Turkson able to get the board. And it's Nebraska, or it's Maryland ball rather, 20 on the shot clock.
This rebounding battle, only 3 offensive, but a couple timely ones right there. Turkson coming in, creating extra possessions. And off the
Washington against Sanford on the perimeter. Adams spins on Hoiberg and the dump down to a cutting Turkson. Really nice play by Maryland.
Maryland is eating up that baseline. You don't play on the side, you play in the middle, and because Nebraska's so good at protecting the rim, Rick Mast just falls asleep, eyes to the ball, mismatch with Adams and Hoiberg. Good cut by Turkson.
Sanford just 7 points in this one. On a bounce, cutting to the rim, but a lot of traffic down there. Hoiberg, nowhere to go. 5 to shoot. Mast trying to get to work on the baseline, and a charging foul is called. Mast wanted a flop. Instead, it's his 3rd personal foul.
Also not loving that call.
Neither is the crowd. They just saw it on the big screen.
That's going baseline, and Adams in good position. Very tough for Rick Mast. You got to give credit to Adams, the freshman. That Hoiberg tells you what he thinks about that one right there.
You don't see a lot of that from Fred Hoiberg over the course of a game. Adams way off on the 3. Rebound to Sanford. Frager out there for Mast. He's trailing.
Adams got to understand, he's 6'5", got the switch with Lawrence, attack him. All you got to do is put him on your hip.
Ball poked free into the backcourt. Erke Buchtengel able to snare it for Nebraska. Now quickly up and over and back is the call. Earl Walton saying the ball was over and then it came back. Fred Hoiberg is perplexed. Watch this again.
Washington, lucky there.
Boy, the crowd is going to erupt, and they do.
It's tough. Sam Hoiberg jumped from the front court into the back court as the ball's in the air.
Washington fading away. That won't go. Loose ball. Diving for it, Nebraska, and it's out of bounds to Maryland.
Pinnacle Bank is going to come down here in a minute. If one of these calls doesn't go Nebraska's way, the Maryland bench ignited by the crowd. It's an important time for for Maryland. They need to score here. It's not a time where you want to let Nebraska go on a run. You got to get a good shot. You don't score, Nebraska comes down. This place is ready to go nuts.
Huskers haven't scored in 2.5 minutes. Maryland trying to keep the pressure on here. 10 to shoot. Andre Mills, contested three. It'll drop. His second of the night, and this crowd will boo all over again.
Nothing to boo about that shot right there. That was tough from Andre Mills. Big time shot in a big time moment.
Tense in Lincoln in a 2-point game. Lawrence had a hand check called on George Turkson Jr. His first. Foul on the floor, says Kelly Pfeiffer, and a timeout on the floor as well. 2-point game, late February in Lincoln. What the stakes are for the Huskers as they chug towards the NCAA tournament, but for Maryland, if you win this game, your probability of that first round bye goes up exponentially. If you lose, it really doesn't change things too much, but for Buzz Williams' team, you win this game in Lincoln, and well, all of a sudden you're really starting to think about avoiding that opening day at the Big Ten tournament.
Really climbing up and getting a good seed because you got the tiebreaker against Minnesota and Washington directly ahead of you.
Lawrence, everything but the bucket. Got a great look.
Big time by Hoiberg. Couldn't knock it down.
Stepping into a three is Mills, and he splashes it down, and Maryland's on top, an 8-0 run.
You can only think about going back to that late shot clock heave from Mills early in the first half that got him going.
Sanford on the drive. Count that bucket and a foul.
Great job by Price Sanford. Not his strength right there. Putting it on the deck. Maryland with the game plan discipline. Got to run him off the line from Turkson, but then, again, the spread out Nebraska offense allows space for Sanford. Right there, Mills just walks right into it. A rare miscue by Nebraska.
They're going to take a look at this. Is it a 2 or is it a 3? Is that toe on the line? That might be a 2. They'll look at that at the next dead ball.
Awfully close. I trust your judgment.
Do you? Because that's not what I've heard over the course of this year. Many times you'll text me and just say, hey, just letting you know I don't trust your judgment, which felt rude.
Depends on the day. Wednesdays aren't always.
Wednesday night hoops, not good judgment. Mills inside, good judgment there, and all of a sudden the freshman who started very slowly is waking up.
And they ran that play early, just a single high screen, let him get downhill. The difference, Burke Buchtengel, not quite the rim protector that Rick Mast is.
11 for Mills. Tie game at 42. Hoiberg on the drive inside. Sanford shrugging off Adams. That'll be a foul on Adams. His first, team's third.
Andre Mills getting it going here. And single high. Really just a go screen. Not much there. And then Rick Mast much bigger than Burke. And Mills just goes right through him. The other end, Maryland's got to understand now, doing a great job closing out to Price Sanford, but with this crowd getting going, the rest might be a little more touchy with the whistle.
Nice catch by Buchtengel and a foul inside. Good find from Sanford, and Berke Buchtengel is headed to the free throw line. Andre Mills with his second personal foul. And Buchtengel, who's 3 for 5 at the line tonight, headed back for 2 more.
Okay, looks all good. Tough kid. How about Price Sanford, though? He's been good here, attacking the rim. You see right there, they're up at the level, fires a rocket. A little pick and roll, a little Magic Johnson action right there. Price Sanford, huh?
And Buchtengel gets one more here in a tie game at 42. Remember, during the next dead ball timeout, they're going to go look at that Mills 3 to see if it's a 2 or a 3. Called a 3 on the court. 1-point lead for Nebraska, but it maybe is a 2-point lead.
Maybe you're telling us it's 43-41.
I'm saying there's a chance. This crowd trying to light a fire for the home team here in a battle with Maryland.
Nebraska showing a little matchup zone. Less than 40 possessions of zone all year.
Adams attacks that zone and gets the window to open up and give Maryland the lead.
It's the danger of the matchup. You end up with a mismatch right there. Good patience by Adams and Maryland, waiting for it to turn into the man. Gets downhill with the smaller Hoiberg.
Launching is Sanford. The three won't go, and the rebound out to Washington, his sixth. Maryland by one. Mills drop off inside. Metcalf rejected by Sanford. Able to stay with it. Gets it back. Too strong. Mills to follow. That won't go. And a loose ball foul underneath against Maryland. And I believe on Solomon Washington, that is his third, if it is. They'll call it on Metcalf, so it is his third.
Dodge a bullet right there. How about that block? Price Sanford getting it done in a lot of ways. Looked to be an easy layup. Again, Mills, great job getting the paint. C parted. Price Sanford erases a sure dunk or layup from Metcalf.
Here's Sanford. Back to Mast. Open for three. Short on that one, and the rebound ends up with Washington. Hoiberg trying to take it away, and he does. Bats it to Frager. To the rim for the hammer.
Sam Hoiberg creates that action. Here comes the crowd.
Saunders trying to quiet him. He will. Career high fifth three-pointer and a timeout, Maryland.
Kevin, I'm not biased, but I thought we were going to get that Nebraska crowd for a second, but Saunders says, hold on 1 second, not quite. See Sam Hoiberg doing a little bit of everything. Frager getting up on the rim.
The three-point
Not for
shot by
long.
Maryland.
Saunders quiets the crowd. Maryland up by 2 in Lincoln.
Coming up, the Wednesday Night Hoops triple header continues where the Buckeyes battle the Hawkeyes in a key matchup next on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. They have reviewed this and ruled it a 2, not a 3, so it is 46-45. Maryland by 1. Mills a 2 instead of a 3 that he stepped into there. So it's a 1-point game in Lincoln with 13:01 to play second half.
Feel good about yourself right now?
I was right. I mean, I don't want to say it out loud where everyone could hear, but yes, I was right. Was my insistence that I was right during the break over and over to you? Did it wear on you a little bit?
No, I'm happy for you. I want to see you do
appreciate,
well.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Teamwork, making the dream work here.
I kind of wanted you to be wrong.
I know you did, yeah. I got that hint. You kept saying, hope you're wrong, Kevin. 15 to shoot for Nebraska, trying to regain the lead in a really important game for the Huskers. A loss in this one would be a tough pill to swallow as Sanford's three won't go. Rick Mast with the offensive rebound. In the corner, Mast will drive. Double comes around him and collapses upon him and forces that errant shot.
And did a great job rebounding out of that zone, but Mills does a great job rotating. Again, that's the rhythm of Mast. Normally he's a great passer as well. Could have sprayed that out.
So a 1-point Maryland lead with the basketball. Adams will turn the corner. The lob off target to Turkson, and it's tipped out by Nebraska. 9 to shoot.
This Nebraska defense has made child's play of so many guards this season. And these youngsters from Maryland turning the corner, making reads, not getting deflections. They're doing a fantastic job against this defense.
On the baseline, the jumper rattles home for Mills, who has 12.
The degree of difficulty of that shot over 2 guys on the baseline. Sweet touch from Andre Mills.
Mast. Out it goes to Frager for 3. Won't go. Mast battling for that rebound, and it's out of bounds to Maryland. Fred Hoiberg looking back at his bench as they review this one to see if it's a challengeable play. It is a challengeable play. Do they want to challenge the ruling on the court? It's the media timeout, so they're going to have plenty of time to look at this one and decide if they want to challenge it. Nebraska taking one more look. Rule Maryland ball on the court. Who's it touched by last? We'll find out if the challenge is coming. Tonight's Taste of Success is brought to you by Marco's Pizza. Maryland's gotten a taste of what Andre Mills is going to develop into over the last month.
Yeah, and it started with that Hail Mary 3 at the end of the first half, made a couple of the right reads, got his rhythm settled in after starting 0 for 4. And now everything's going through the basket. 4 or 5 in the second half, 9 points.
When you look at the second half scoring margin in Big Ten play this season, Nebraska plus 8.3, Maryland minus 4.2, last in the league in Big Ten games in second half scoring margin. But tonight the script has flipped, and Maryland's plus 9 so far in the second half, thanks in large part to 8 of 14 shooting from the floor.
8 of 14 shooting, and that Achilles heel of Nebraska rebounding during that losing streak was so big for them. 10-3 in this second half, 4 offensive for Maryland.
And Saunders, 5 threes, looking for his 6th, and Frager the rebound off that miss.
They live with that all day if you're Maryland. Great read by Washington.
Where do you go for offense here if you're Nebraska? Only 12 second half points.
Got to get Price Sanford involved, get him moving, but Maryland's done a great job staying connected to him.
Nebraska's just been stymied all night long, offensively. Mast trying to get things going, and there's a foul on Mills. From behind, trying to swat it away, and he picks up his 3rd personal foul. 5th team foul, or 6th team foul, rather.
Mills had a chance to go steal that, just missed. Good read by him, just didn't get his hands on it. Mast had him back to the ball, but.
Here's Mast back to work inside against Washington. Wild hook, no good, and Rick Mast continuing to search for his offensive game.
Maryland is not going to let Price Sanford beat them as it stands, so Mast is going to have to start making plays, passing and or scoring.
There's Saunders with 15 to shoot. Pino back on the floor. He's got the ball with 5 on the shot clock. Has to launch that deep 3, and the rebound plucked by Sanford.
Not the guy you want to have it late in the shot clock. Mills buried in the corner right there.
Oh, good find. Mast took his time inside. Fortunate to get 2 out of that.
Very fortunate. I think got away with a little bit of a travel as well. Was wide open. Solomon Washington came out of nowhere, but Rick Mast looking a little shaky right now.
Under 10 minutes to go in this one. Mills lost the handle on it. Hoiberg diving on the floor, and it's Nebraska who gets the turnover. Looking for the lead again. It's Frager, bumped by Metcalf, and a foul. That's 4 on Metcalf. That's 7 team fouls. That's a 1-and-1 coming up for Frager.
Good defense by Nebraska right there again. Not going to let Sanford beat him. Nobody in the paint right there. That's just a little skittish with it when he saw Solomon Washington, that athleticism, ends up finishing.
Coit will enter, Mills will leave. Metcalf leaving with that 4th foul, and Adams in, so a little bit smaller lineup for Maryland.
Critical juncture in the game right here. Maryland's offense has stalled, become a little static these last couple possessions. Mills tried to force a split.
And good for Frager to break a 2-minute, 16-second scoring drought. Well, that's Maryland's drought as well. Nebraska trying to figure out a way back into the lead.
Again, it's going to have to be one of these guys. Frager, Mast, they're going to have to make some plays. Essentially playing 4-on-4 with the way Price Sanford shoots the ball and what Maryland's willing to do to take him out of the game.
Huskers back on top by 1. To shoot. Coit. Tough pass. Del Pino trying to track it down. Bats it back to Coit. 5 to shoot. Coit, step back, deep 3. Off, no good, and the rebound out of bounds to Nebraska.
Good defensive possession by Nebraska. Again, stagnant. No paint touches. Nothing even remotely close to going towards the rim. When you got Diggy Coit in the ball screen, it's a lot more difficult. Small to see over. You get the hand activity. Can't see over that Nebraska defense.
It's where you're missing Andre Mills, who's getting a breather right now on the bench. Likely back in if they can last that long at the under 8.
Yeah, but Darius Adams is out there. He's 6'5". He can see over all those hedges and aggressive play at the ball screen.
Frager in the corner, got an open three, and he nails it home. What a find, and Frager cashes it in. 4-point Nebraska lead.
And Nebraska's radio team was on their feet before that one even went up. What a pass by Jamarcus Lawrence.
Lawrence nearly the steal. Saunders on the bounce. Back out to Coit, wide open triple, and another crowd quieter from Maryland.
Solomon Washington, unselfish play, extra pass, and there goes Diggy Coit. Talk so much about Mills, but listen, this is a close game. Diggy Coit can microwave really quick.
Double comes, they find Mass to Sanford, and he gets the roll. Sanford having to pass out of a lot of doubles, and Mass cashing in the last 2 trips.
Great patience by Sanford. Even though Mass, he had Diggy Coit underneath the rim. He's got to go dunk that.
Coit will launch again. You talked about his microwave ability. He's trying to crank that timer on. Sanford, the trail 3. And the rebound, Saunders.
What a rebound by Saunders. I was ready to say this place was ready to blow up. You talk about a timer. Right, Sanford almost right on time.
Washington in some trouble in traffic. 6 to shoot for Coit. Step back 3. And the rebound, Sanford. He'll push. End to end. Sanford. Mass plucks it and finishes. Good hands by Mass to find that one.
Great hands, good pass. Rick Matt starting to feel a little bit more comfortable now.
Run, looking to expand on it for Nebraska. Drop off to Sanford. He'll drive. No! Mass, no at the rim. Huskers wanted goaltending. They can't believe it.
I can't either.
And a foul on Frager. Fred Hoiberg is apoplectic.
Apoplectic he should be. You see it right here. Again, another dime from Price Sanford. Oh, looks like it might have been all right. Nebraska hanging on.
Nebraska in the Big Ten tournament. Big Ten Network's live coverage of the 2026 TIAA Big Ten men's basketball tournaments in Chicago, March 11th through the 13th. We all remember that game. Nebraska outscored Indiana 50-27 in the first half. Keisei Tominaga, 23 points, 4 for 7 from 3. Tominaga and Bryce Williams combined 32 points in that first half. Huskers would love to see some of that kind of offense in this game, a defensive game that has Nebraska up 5. We've been pouring over this during the break. Did he touch it on the way up here, Washington? Didn't get it there. Did he get it here?
No. We watched it countless times
angles.
and just can't see it. Maybe right there, but listen, if we can't see it on the TV, no way that this officiating crew is going to get that.
And we need you to wheel in your 80-inch high def and let us look at that here in this building.
We need the 3D TVs, man.
We do. Blocked off. Washington has to get rid of it. 5 to shoot. Adams penetrates from the logo, and the rebound batted to the corner by Washington. Saunders touching it out of bounds.
Saunders playing hard right there. I think that went off of Price Sanford last as Washington was battling for it, but no way to know. You got to go after that one.
And I was convinced live, by the way, that that was a goaltend. I was 100% certain. We got into the break and looked at those replays, and I'm not so sure. Frager inside. Good fat Mass, and what a challenge by Metcalf. And then Hoiberg with a huge play. hangs in the air to throw it off Elijah Saunders. You'd be surprised, but Sam Hoiberg does that every single game.
Every single game, and what a possession. The dime, the good defense, the dime, the recovery. You think Maryland has it, and no one more fitting than Sam Hoiberg to make the final play.
13 to shoot for Nebraska. And it comes into Frager, and Frager, no. Mast's follow won't go. Still loose, and it comes up in the hands of Frager. Somehow, some way, Nebraska gets 2 on that trip.
Starting to turn the tide from the earlier in this second half, beat up the glass and win the physicality battle.
Sanford bats it into the Huskers' end of the floor, able to save it. Finds Hoiberg. Back out Lawrence, extra pass, Sanford with the triple. 9-0 run and a 10-point lead.
Finally, active hands. You get the tip, you get the steal, and you get the Price Sanford 3.
A 16-3 Nebraska run and a timeout Maryland.
We've been talking about that, Kevin, the entire second half, how good these Maryland guards have been at avoiding the steals, avoiding the hand activity. But again, the guys from Nebraska who get it done is Sam Hoiberg gets a hand on the ball. Take it back right here. Andre Mills thinks he has a pass. Jumps, it's Hoiberg, gets a hand on it. Bryce Sanford chases it down, and then Hoiberg could have gone up for the layup, but there it is, Nebraska basketball. 1 pass, 2 pass. Get it back to the best shooter in the conference. And he's got Pinnacle Bank rocking.
It took them a while to find their rhythm, and Sanford's 100th made three-point field goal this season extends the record and gives Nebraska their largest lead of the night. You see the standings. The Huskers trying to stay above that top yellow line. Everybody above that line, triple bye. In between the 2 lines on the left, double bye. Go to the right side, above that yellow line on that right side, you're in single bye territory, and if you're below that line, you're kicking off your tournament on Tuesday, and you've got to win 6 games in 6 days to win a Big Ten tournament crown.
But you know, again, for the teams that are at the bottom, I think you almost want to play those 6 games. See if you can get a rhythm. See if you can catch those teams that had a bye, double bye, catch them sleeping a little bit, come out lethargic. I always reference the college football playoff. The teams that had the bye, you know, takes a minute to get going in those games.
6 and 6 would be a large order.
Thank you back to Kemba Walker back in the day.
Would.
Madison Square Garden.
3 in the corner. That's an air ball caught by Sanford. Off the timeout, nothing doing for Maryland. Saunders coming up empty. Here's Lawrence. Frager. Seven to shoot. Hoiberg matching up against Metcalf, trying to get past the big man, and a foul called on Metcalf, and that's his 5th. Metcalf fouls out with 4:43 to go in this one.
He's been so good protecting the rim, switching on the guards. And again, look at the paint right here. No one in it, because you talk about rink mass, getting a little bit of that rhythm, got to stay attached. Sam Hoiberg, high IQ, knows it, draws the contact.
Buzz Williams trying to steal a timeout here. You're not supposed to be able to use these foul outs for the extra conversation, but they're stealing that timeout. Earl Walton's over to break up the huddle.
Buzz, veteran coach there,
That's
getting
right.
as much time as he can.
Metcalf trying to time his sit down. See Buzz Williams just sort of subtly with that clipboard. Oh, you happen to wander over here? I happen to have something I could draw on this board for you.
Boy, just comfortably sitting on that scores table somehow. And Metcalf tried to wear out the Nebraska crowd. To your point, he didn't want to sit down.
And he wanted to time it as Hoiberg attempted that first free throw to see if he could throw him off a little bit. Washington trying to break an over 4-minute Maryland scoring drought. Point had to go down to get that one, and he brought it up for 3. That's a huge bucket for Maryland.
Huge bucket. Again, this Nebraska defense playing shell drill defense, textbook, but Maryland gets it side to side. One of their best shooters.
Sanford, good find. The corner 3 won't go, and the rebound ripped down by Mills quickly up the floor. And Hoiberg with the steal. Hoiberg to the other end for 2. He's second in the conference in steals per game, and a big one there to stretch the lead back to double digits.
He looked like a D-back for the Cornhuskers right there. It looked like Deion Sanders or something. He timed that perfectly, ran right through that pass. Telegraph from Washington.
14 points off turnovers now for Nebraska. Coit looking for back-to-back threes, and Sanford skying for his 7th rebound. Nebraska back even on the glass now in this game. Hoiberg baseline drive for 2 more. He's got 12.
Sam Hoiberg and Bryce Sanford have been the catalyst, but Rick Mass finding his rhythm. You see he had the seal right there to clear out the lane for Hoiberg.
16-6 points in the paint in the second half for Nebraska. That's been the difference. They've been able to get to the rim, hit a couple of threes, stretch the lead to 13, and the Huskers trying to get their 24th win of the season. It's been a battle tonight in Lincoln, but Nebraska the edge on Wednesday Night Hoops. Huge game for Ohio State as they battle Iowa. Nebraska simply could not afford to lose a home game to a team that has had its ups and downs this year like Maryland. In this late run, Maryland was up 48-45 at the 10-20 mark, Jordan Taylor. And Sam Hoiberg with 59 steals, the most by a Cornhusker since Cookie Belcher, keying Nebraska on a 22-6 run since that 48-45 Maryland lead.
Yeah, it's been Sam Hoiberg, as Coach Weber said, defensively, but it's also been them on the glass. It's been Bryce Sanford. He's got 7 rebounds. Rick Mass hasn't been quite himself, but he has been more physical, more aggressive. They were down 10-3 on the glass at one point. 15-14 in the second half, 15-14 now. They've turned the tide there. Bryce Sanford's been outstanding as a passer as well.
Well, it's what Buzz Williams was concerned about when we were talking with him before the game, is the defense of Nebraska. He said their offense is beautiful to watch. It's mesmerizing. He said, but that defense has been playing as well or better than Nebraska's offense. He said that's been the biggest difference with the Huskers.
Yeah, in the first half, they weren't getting those deflections.
But another great look, and Mills rains down the 3. His third, he's got 15.
Well, Maryland only has 57 points. They've done a solid job avoiding it for the most part of this game. Right there, threading the needle from the elbow. Good shot by Mills.
Sanford looking down low. He's got Mass with Coit on him. Lawrence out for a 3. And it rolls off. Huskers able to get that 3 down. Mills on the drive inside, everything but the bucket there as it pops out.
That's textbook, getting with the body of the shot blocker. Just can't get it to go down.
That freshman's going to be a special player as he develops.
He is. It's another one of your predictions that will definitely come true.
I'm big on sturdy limbs. 10 to shoot. Huskers content to let a little clock run here, shorten this game a little bit. Hoiberg inside. What a drop off to Mast, who's fouled. Man, that is a beautiful pass off the drive.
Yeah, it was, but it's really high IQ, understanding the switch is coming. You're just going full speed to turn that corner, which forces Washington over, and that's how he knew that help had to come, kind of the no-look drop-off. A beautiful pass, but A1 understanding of the game as well.
He has exhibited a high IQ for a lot of years, and you know, it makes sense. He grew up in a basketball world.
Yeah, probably since birth.
Yes.
I think
that's a safe bet.
You know, as a Minneapolis kid, I still see Coach Hoiberg as the shooting guard for the Timberwolves, and always the high IQ knockdown shooter. Great athlete too, though.
Quickly up the floor, Adams the open three in the corner. That won't go, and Sanford able to get that rebound despite the body being tossed into him by Elijah Saunders. Here's Lawrence. .15 to shoot. What a battle it has been tonight, but Nebraska in the driver's seat right now, up 12. Sanford has to launch, shot clock winding, barely grazes the rim. We've got a foul underneath. Frager gets the rebound and the whistle against Maryland. Well, Nebraska, you know, is in the tournament. The question is, how high can they seed? Mike DeCourcy has them as a 3 seed, as did the selection committee when they unveiled their top 16 seeds this past weekend. But Jordan, assuming you win out, and that's a big assumption, 2 games in LA and then a final game here against Iowa before the Big Ten tournament, still a path to that 2 seed somewhere in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, 1,000%. And I think winning out is obviously going to be tough. You got to think if you win out, there's outside chance with a lot of help, maybe even at a win. I'm no Mike DeCourcy.
No,
I don't want to overstep. I need to text him right now, but but you never know.
Again, a tall task. There's only been 2 teams since UCLA and USC joined the league that have gone out and swept them in LA. Minnesota and Michigan both did it last year.
Minnesota known for some giant killing.
Adams. Washington will back it out. Here's Coit. Whips that pass back over to Mills for 3. Rebound batted out. Mills ends up with it. Jump stop and 2 off the window for Mills. No timeouts for Maryland, so they can't set anything up with under a minute to go. And down 71-59, there's not a lot of options.
Just slowly bleeding out right here. Nebraska going to go right back to the single high screen. Expect Maryland to switch.
Hoiberg inside. Sanford in the corner. That 3 drops, and the cherry on top for Nebraska at home.
And no other way than Sam Hoiberg to Bryce Sanford. Almost scripted, but Maryland put up a fight here tonight. No moral victories, but they played well.
And Mills fouled. He'll head to the free throw line for a pair. Well, Nebraska came in with 23 wins, tied for the 2nd most ever at NU. They will stand alone after this one. Only the 1990-91 Huskers ever have won more in a single season than this Nebraska team to this point. And Nebraska still has many opportunities to get past the 26-win mark and become the winningest team in the history of Nebraska basketball. And for people who've watched a lot of bad Nebraska basketball teams over the years, these are the good old days right now. This is the good old season that you've waited for a long time in Lincoln.
Are you talking to yourself?
Not at all. Not at all.
How many Nebraska basketball games have you watched in your day?
There've been a few. A lot of them in this chair. 74-61. Not as many as our colleague to our left, Kent Pavelka, the voice of the Huskers. He's seen all of them. And he's enjoying this season, as are the fans here at Pinnacle Bank Arena. 74-61. Nebraska will just leave that ball at half court and walk off with their 24th win of the season and a 13-4 conference record. The Huskers were tested tonight, but 13 conference wins tying the program record, and Fred Hoiberg's team is now 24-4, headed out to Los Angeles.
You know, that 26-win mark seems inevitable at this point, and they just leaned on Maryland, got it together, took them a minute right there. That's what good teams do. They win the games you're supposed to win. And to your point about Kent Pavelka, he was over here willing them to victory, standing up at times, getting into it almost like a fan, one of the greats, but Nebraska showing their might again.
JP is a legend. That'll do it for us here in Lincoln, where Nebraska wins at 74-61 over Maryland. Up next, we send it to our Chicago studios for a Big Ten Live game break. For Jordan Taylor, our entire crew, I'm Kevin Kugler, saying so long. Thanks for watching, and good night from Lincoln.